Okay, so history of America and American conquest of the Native Americans. I've just done some really interesting research, and I think we're going to do a short, video on my perspective on what I've learned. So here's the story: is Columbus came over in 1492, and basically was a total jerk. Just killed a ton of people, but none of them in America. All of them in the Caribbean islands, like not in the mainland North American continent. So then 120 years go by, and Europeans fail and fail and fail to live, to survive on the North American continent at all. They have 10 failed colonies until in Jamestown they finally make it via cannibalism. So, I guess that counts. So then it's not until 1776 that they kind of break European ties, establish an American identity, as it were, to sort of get organized and get stable, have a real sense of being themselves. So then, it's not 100 years until America, quote, conquers the Indians, and even that is under a bit of a misconception. Is that it wasn't until 1850 that we'd taken until most of the Mississippi. And then from 1850 to 1890, a 40-year period, a little less than that, that's when we took the West. And when we took the West, what we were doing is breaking a ton of treaties. So we had signed treaties for these Native American tribes that said, hey, you're good. This is your land. This is our land. It's good. Like, I guess, for me, I feel like that's sovereignty being recognized. And there's actually a lot of political there's a tumultuous time politically in America. There's a lot of people in America who were not into that. They didn't want to take the Native American lands. They thought that, hey, we've made these treaties, we should stick by them. And then we didn't. So then by 1890, almost the turn of the century, like when we started doing a ton of modern things with cars and with what we think of as the beginning of the modern era, a lot of times, that was when we had pushed all of the Native Americans into reservations. And sure, there's been a lot of land disputes here and there, but the majority of the land had been divvied up by then. So the world's oldest person in history, 120, I believe, might have been alive when this whole business was going on. So it's just really interesting to understand this in a broader context. It's not like we came in as these conquerors and just knocked down Native American culture. Is that we came in and struggled and wasn't very successful and then eventually got a foothold, and then brought that foothold and had some success, but also were met against a formidable organized military force, failed to defeat them outright, established peace, essentially, and then we broke that peace. So it just tells a very different story than us coming in and being these conquerors. From my perspective right now, at the end of this research, I'm feeling like they really established themselves as a modern nation, with military might and then with political savvy and effectiveness, and that we violated those treaties. That, for me, is what's really, disappointing, disheartening. It makes me be like, oh, yeah, that's bad. So anyway, just some food for thought. I hope that you can learn about these things and do your own research, and maybe change your overall perspective on how you, like, the angle that you see this from. There's our current modern experience, but it's seen through the filters of the past. So there we have it. 5 minutes explanation of American history.